The Chicago.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Feliz mes de la Herencia Hispana. Welcome to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer. Junto con mi primo, mia, Lance S. Irvin.
What's up, cuz? Right back to you. Como está?
It's star, not a star. A star.
I said está. I see. I'm disappointed with you. See, you come on here with your fancy Black Hawk jersey on and speaking Spanish, and you were supposed to find me the young lady to help tutor me. But I understand, though. You're trying to keep it for yourself. So, how do you say "kiss my grits" in Spanish? Say that back to yourself.
I don't know. I don't know the grits part, but I can give you the best of me. The rest of them.
Exactly. You know the part I'm talking about. But I love you anyway. And welcome to What's Up, Cuz, to our viewers. Let me step out the way and let you do what you do.
Just say bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. That's welcome.
Sean, is this young man speaking Spanish correctly?
I'm
fool
close.
People. He can fool
No,
people.
no.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
No.
See, he thought he was fooling us.
It's bienvenidos. Bienvenidos.
There you go. That's what I said.
No, it wasn't. Not even close.
Shawty thought he had us. Shawty thought he had us.
You saw me in the back. I was just like, I give you an A for effort, D for try.
Wow.
D for performance. A for effort, D for performance.
I got to score like the Bears did.
Could you please thank everybody for watching What's Up, Cuz the right way so they can understand what he was supposed to say?
He was supposed to say, gracias por mirarnos. So thank you for watching us.
Shawty thought he was doing something.
Oh, he was doing something. Not sure what it was, but he was doing something.
Make sure we cut that. Sean, we have to find somebody to edit that. You see, he had his face.
Woo,
He had his head.
That's like when you learn a foreign language, instead of saying thank you very much, like, you are all jerks, I hope you die. And everyone looks at you like, what the hell did you say? What you say about my mama?
Ooh, Lord have mercy. This show is already off. All right, everybody. Welcome to What's Up, Cuz.
Like, I forgot to put everybody on Facebook to hear that.
I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, mi primo. You're my primo. Lance S.A. Irvin. See, I didn't forget your C. Lance Irvin.
Thank you.
And this is our crazy show every Monday night that we do here from the Chicago area, where we talk about everything going on in the world of sports and some other areas as well. Good to be back with you. We were off last week. We were celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. And we were also celebrating Paul Irvin Day. Last week, Lance's wonderful wife, mi prima, Paula Irvin.
There you go.
Capitalinos.
Yeah, you know, she's running around here thinking she's like 32, but she's kind of getting up there in age. But I love her every bit of what the numbers say how old she is. But I'm gonna say she's 35, so I'm gonna get beat up later. But with that being said, I appreciate you, cuz, wishing her a happy birthday, and she had a great birthday. She enjoys spending my money and her money. You know, everything is together in the bank, and she lets me know that quite frequently. It's my money too. I work too, so our checking account is lighter, but that's all right. She deserves it though. So she had a great birthday, and cuz, let me ask you this. I've been meaning to ask you this too.
See?
Before we officially continue to welcome everybody to the show, are you SWAC? Are you the real SWAC? Is Deion Sanders Eddie Robinson? Who's SWAC, cuz? You didn't write an article about who's really SWAC, and I'm going to shut up and leave you alone.
I thought that was a very interesting argument. What happened was we had the coach from Alabama State who, after he lost to Deion Sanders, Jackson State team, went in the press conference and said that Deion Sanders wasn't really SWAC. And of course, Coach Prime, being Coach Prime, responded the way he was going to respond. And things got a little heated. Things have calmed down since the war words is kind of, it's calmed down, but things got a little heated out there. And Deion responded, and yes, he is SWAC. I am not SWAC. I did not go to a SWAC school, but I have many, many friends and family members who did go to the wonderful HBCUs that are in the SWAC. So I understand a little bit about the SWAC, but I am not SWAC, Lance Urban. I'm sorry.
Jason, just let me add this. Deion Sanders is just as much SWAC as Eddie Robinson Jr. is SWAC. Deion has done a lot for the SWAC conference, same way Eddie Robinson Jr. and what his father has done from the SWAC conference. But it's certain people you don't fool with an oppressor. It's certain people you don't talk trash to. That's like guys knew not to talk to Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Guys knew not to talk to MJ.
Jordan. Yeah.
They knew not to talk to Gary Payton. So it's certain people you just leave them alone. When you talk to Deion, you need to come with the come on, because good old Coach Prime is going to answer you in 15,000 different ways. And this social media game is real strong.
Well, and that was my thing. I was like, he's playing in the Coach Prime's strengths.
Well said.
You playing in his strengths, man. You ain't gonna beat him at his game in media and him being media savvy. He's been media savvy since he was at Florida State. So, he got 20, 30 years of doing this. You gonna get to a war word with him in the press? No, that ain't gonna work. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad cooler heads prevailed, and they're both SWAC and doing what they can to help the kids from our community. But hey, welcome to What's Up, Cuz. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I just got a note in my ear that we are having a little bit of an issue with our Facebook broadcast. It's not coming through on our Sports Zone Chicago Facebook page. We are working to get that taken care of, but there are other places I know you're watching us. First of all, I know you're watching us on the Sports Zone Chicago YouTube page, because I get that feed as well. So I know that one is up and running. And then I also know those of you who are watching us on our newest way to watch the show on the Roku channel, the Sports Zone Chicago Roku channel. We appreciate you if you're tuning in there. And if you're on the road, you're in the car, or you're sitting at a wedding and the people are boring you to death, I know you're watching on that app, that Sports Zone Chicago app. And if you do not have that app, my cousin Lance Urban is going to tell you where you can find it.
The iTunes store, the Google store, and the Amazon store. And to correct my cousin Jason, you don't have to be bored at a wedding or anything. Forget the wedding. Just tune in and listen to us talk about sports and go back and forth and clown each other for the next 2 hours.
There you go. So, and also happy Hispanic Heritage Month to everyone out there. We want to definitely put that out there. The Spanish version of it is on the ticker scrolling down at the bottom, so I don't have to screw up the words. But happy Hispanic Heritage Month, everyone out there. We want to recognize all the contributions of our Hispanic and Latino community members to what they've done here in this great country of the United States of America, or Estados Unidos. See, I got that one.
Okay, you rolling.
I'm already on lesson number 9 now, so I'm getting there. I'll get there. But hey, we got a great show planned for you tonight. We got 2 guests coming on. Let me tell you who we got coming on. It's 6:30. 6:30, we have New York Times journalist Jonathan Abrams. And we're going to talk with Jonathan about a couple of things. First thing we're going to talk with him about is he wrote an article last month that I sent to you because I wanted you to talk about it. That's Jonathan. He wrote a great article about American professional basketball players who are currently playing in Russia. So, everything that's going on with the Brittany Griner situation. The female basketball players are not playing in Russia, but there are male basketball players from the United States who are currently playing in Russia. So he wrote a great article on it. I had no clue about that. So I really want to talk to him about that just to kind of see where he is with that. Because that was a very interesting article for me to read. And I just want to know, general kind of like, what are some of your thoughts on that?
First of all, Jay, you want everybody to be safe where they're playing, and that's how people feed their families and stuff. But at this point in time, Jay, to go over in Russia to play, that would have been a tough decision for me to make from what's going on right now. And I know the U.S. government is asking people to not go or come back home if they're over there. So with that being said, that's a tough situation, Jay, to be over in Russia playing right now. And the way good old Paula Rice wants to run things in the house from time to time, she would have been choking me. We're not going over there. Find another job. Find a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So, but shout out to the players that's playing over there. And I understand they love the basketball game, but I can't wait to have them on so we could talk about life over there and what the players are actually experiencing right now. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jay, I think Brittany Griner has been in jail for like 160 days.
No, longer than that.
Longer than that, 180.
Yeah.
So she's been over there. So.
She's been over there almost like in custody about 9 months. Almost 10 months. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. So okay, so we got Jonathan. He's coming on at 6:30, and then at 7 o'clock, we're bringing on our good friend from down in Central Illinois, down there in the Champaign area. Our good friend Kedrick Prince. He's gonna come on, and if we're bringing on Kedrick, y'all already know what we're gonna be talking about. It's got to be nothing but Illini sports, and in this case, it is the 18th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini football team. Can you believe that the Fighting Illini football team is ranked number 18 in the country right now, Lance?
Jay, when they, won the first couple of games, got the 3-1, 4-1, now they 5-1. I was like, are they serious? But I thought Britt Beanham was a good hire from what he did at Wisconsin in his days at Arkansas. I thought he was a very sound coach. But he has those guys playing real well. They physical on offense, they physical on defense. So I'm happy for them. And I think you and I always said we need Illinois football to start winning consistently. That's best for the state. So when you have a good football team, Jay, I always love a good football team. You know why? Because they bring more money to the program. So I used to clap Texas A&M. I would say, well, come on, football team, let's go. See, some people hate on football. I don't, because I understand dollars and cents. After that education bill Byrne gave me at Texas A&M, I'm all football, Jay. Bring the money.
Football pay the bills, man.
Oh, they pay them.
You ain't got no golf team without no football team.
Exactly. So everybody like the football team getting so much. Why are they getting all that? Because they pay a lot of the bills.
They bring in the bacon. Bring it home the bacon, baby. You don't have no swim team without the football team.
No gymnastic team, like you said. So shout out, but I can't wait to have them on talk about it. Illini football.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Illini football. So those are our guests coming on tonight. Jonathan Abrams at 6:30. Kedrick Prince at 7 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. But hey, we got some other topics we can talk about.
What are we talking about, cuz? What you got?
Let me look into my bag.
What you got?
I got four things here. Oh, I know what to start out with. Some college football. Because there was a game that happened down in Knoxville, Tennessee on Saturday night. Not sure if you were able to catch any of it, but
Hey.
we had an upset this past weekend in college football. A huge upset as the Tennessee Volunteers defeated the Alabama Crimson Tide on a last-second field goal. And down goes Bama, down goes Bama.
Jay, you know I caught some of that game, sir. I'm all on my cell phone because you know I love football Saturdays. Alabama playing Tennessee. Hey, Roll Tide and good old Rocky Top. I tell you what, Bryce Hurd and the quarterback Booker from Tennessee, those young fellas was throwing that ball, Jay. And that's one of the few times I saw Tennessee corners and safeties getting their doors blown off as much as I had seen them get their doors blown off. Excellent game, back and forth, good old offense. And I tell you what, Jay, that last field goal, that thing was low and tight, and it should have got blocked. But once again, it didn't get blocked. See, that's the difference in between, don't quote me on that, that's the difference between the handshake with nothing and a handshake maybe wrapped with some money in it. I don't know. See, that's what I heard they used to do in the good old days. I don't know if they still doing that now, but I'm just saying.
Interesting. Well, it set off just a wave of celebration in Tennessee. As you can see, these Tennessee fans.
Come on, Jay. Those good old Vols, boy, I tell you. Gold post shirtless. What he riding on, Jay? Come on, man. Come on, cuz.
Oh God, I gotta love college kids, man. He is riding on what was the stanchion of the goalpost. As you can see, it has been completely severed off, and the crowd is taking the goalposts with them. We're still trying to figure out where the goalpost is.
That's a Sean question. What do they do with the goalpost? I mean, Jay, what you gonna do? You gonna throw off a quarter of an inch and give everybody a quarter of an inch?
Well, the president of the university said it was money well spent because they got hit with $100,000 fine, and he said, "I don't mind paying that money every year. We can keep beating Alabama."
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So I had I'll give you the narrative. I had Kelsey Nicole Nelson on my show last week, and we were tweeting about it. She was like, "Oh, the goalpost." I'm like, she said, "What happened to the goalpost?" I'm like, "Well, and I had a video on my show of the president. Someone asked him, it was a little video. So what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Well, it goes, it's money well spent." He said, "I'll do this every year." All right. And so I said, you know, here's what the president said, but I don't really know what happened to the goalpost. Then the person who actually posted that video of the president, he replies to me and he says, hold on, because I don't want to misspeak.
Okay.
I definitely don't want to misspeak. I didn't know you're gonna have me all ready to roll, man. So
I just thought about it.
So here's what actually happened. So he says, so I said, he said the goalposts were, here we go. Shoot. So they went down to the strip. They have a strip down in Knoxville.
I've been there.
So they carried, here's the quote. So I said, okay, I said at the real K Nelson, here's what the press had to say about the goalpost, although I didn't find out what actually happened to them. Then the person replied, the fans carried them down the strip, stopped for a drink, and then threw them in the Tennessee River. If the goalposts come down, they go for a swim. Them's the rules. THEM''S. Them's the rules. I was like, okay. I'm like, well, that's awesome. Congratulations on the win. Yesterday, I said, and at the real K Nelson, well, I guess we know what happened to the goalpost. Awesome. And then the guy replied again. He said, thanks. I was 8 years old the last time they came down after the Florida win in 1998. So it was cool to see this again. Feels different on Rocky Top this year. So, yeah.
So they throw the goalpost in the Tennessee River.
Yes, they do.
Well, we didn't get any reports of people drowning throughout Tennessee. Did we? Did people go swim with this thing?
I mean,
That is a good question. That's a good question. No, you know what? It seems like that's something you would just toss in. You toss in like, yeah, So
like,
Sean,
Sean, how many people does it take to carry a goalpost? Is it
you saw that about 20, 30?
Like,
those are heavy.
Man,
those are heavy, dude.
That. I'm like, Jay, you got 20 people, and that strip in Tennessee is nice. 20 people. So what you do? You find a bar, you drop it.
You drop it in the street. You drop it in the street. Oh, let's go get a drink. We got to refuel. Go and refuel. Shot in the beer. And then come on out.
This seems like a terrible idea. We have drunk 20-somethings, a heavy steel post, and a river. None of this goes well.
And the police not saying a word. The police probably high-fiving them. Yeah,
sounds like the beginning of a great story. We got teenagers and drunk teenagers and a goalpost.
We need to get that guy on the show. We need him on the show.
Oh Lord, and a river. Oh my God, them's the rules, huh? Okay,
them's the rules. I love it. I love it.
I tell you what else. Them's the rule is. I would spend that $100,000 for that bowl game money any day. That $100,000 for 17 to 35 million. They can have those goalposts all year, every day if they wanted to. I mean, Sean, just think about that. You beat Alabama. If you continue to win, you in line for a huge payday.
Well, let's not forget the biggest. And here's the reason there was so much craziness about it. Tennessee, they play Alabama every year. Mm-hmm. Right? They hadn't beaten Alabama since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it had been 16 years since they last beat them. So this is, and then I don't remember what they said if this was the latest, but they're both in the top 10.
Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. Tennessee was number 6. Mm-hmm. Alabama was number 3. Okay, so you've got 2 teams in the top 10, 2 teams that are undefeated. Tennessee hadn't beat you in 15 years. You're in Neyland Stadium, 102,000 people. You know, there wasn't one damn empty seat in the stadium.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. And you beat them. And it's not just that you beat them, it's how you beat them. You go up 21 to 3 or 21-7 early. And in the first quarter, you scored 21 points if you Tennessee does. Then Alabama's like, don't worry, we got studs at all positions. They come back and tie it. Then Tennessee goes ahead. Alabama comes back and tie it. Tennessee fumbles. If you saw it, remember that play where it was a read, zone read. They fumbled it, they scooped it, they scored. They're like, oh shit, what's going on? Look at the faces of the fans. Then Tennessee's like, don't worry about it, we got it. They come back and they tie it. Then Alabama goes down and kicks a field goal. I mean, attempts to kick a field goal.
Misses.
Then so you go from, oh my God, they're gonna score, to yes, wait a minute, we got a chance. We got 15 seconds left. We got to get 40 yards. Can we do it? Then the 2 pass plays, 18 and like 25 yards.
Sean, I was shocked they was playing that deep and gave him that much room.
So was I.
A lot of room. Were you not, Jay? I was shocked.
That was one of the best games that was one of the best games I've seen in the last few years. It was just constant back and forth.
And then the kick, Jason, the kick was not clean. It looked like it was blocked. It was like a knuckleball. And I'm like, did it go? I thought it was short.
I thought it was short too.
And then the refs were like, boop. I was like, oh my God. And the fans, think of the emotions as a Tennessee fan. Oh, either fan. Or Alabama, because Alabama, like, yeah, good, we got this win. Oh, man, Mr. Reliable just missed a kick wide right. Okay, we don't got 15 seconds. Don't worry about it. Oh, didn't matter. And then the emotions as a Tennessee fan and you know what? A buddy of mine, both his boys go to University of Tennessee, so he was down there at the game.
Okay.
He was down there at the game. He said it was the craziest game he has ever been in, seen, and definitely ever been to in person. But he said it was the craziest game he's ever seen. So it was that if you came away from that game and don't like college football, you are insane. Insane.
Yes, I think that was that game. And I'm going to say this. I thought it transcended not just college football, but just sports in general. I think moments like that is what makes many of us sports addicts, because it's the unpredictability of it. It's how your fortunes can change in a heartbeat, and just the sheer emotion, natural emotions that come out. I mean, they went from the thrill of victory to the agony of defeat.
And on the other side is the agony of defeat to the thrill of victory.
Exactly. It was unbelievable, man. That was just unbelievable. I thought it was really good for college football and just good for people who are definitely fans of Tennessee. So just congratulations to them. And, this guy here, we're going to be the CEO of some company in 20 years, and he'll always be able to say, yeah, that one time in 2022.
Dude, if I was that kid, because somebody has to have that picture on campus, all right? Somebody knows him. He's got to frame that sucker. He's got to make that a portrait, like the Kramer portrait from Seinfeld. That's got to be a portrait of him riding at the top of the broken part of the goalpost, just because you're going to be able to tell your kids, your grandkids, like, I was there after 16 years of not beating Alabama. We get them at home, both undefeated, both in the top 10, and we did it on a last second, looked like a partially blocked
47 almost blocked it. 47.
Yeah, it looked like it, and I would have that framed. That picture would be framed.
And it should be. That great game. 52-49, y'all, in the thrill of a college game day there, too. I mean, unbelievable.
I mean, Lance, let me ask you this, because, we know what they do in football. In basketball, they storm the court. But they don't rip down the damn goalpost. They don't rip down the basket. But have you ever been in a situation with
I've been there when I worked at Missouri. We played Kansas, and I think Kansas was like number 8 in the country. The Kansas-Missouri game. It's always sellouts going crazy.
Yeah, that's a border war.
And we beat them in an overtime game, and Bricky was small, so people start storming the courts, and she was just all around. I'm like, Paula, grab my baby. I wanted to get in this. And you like basically high-fiving, and you trying to get through the crowd to get to your locker room. One of the best feelings in the world, but man, people jumping all over your back because you got to be careful because you don't want none of your players getting hurt too. So, I mean, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing all at once. But that thing right there is crazy. Crazy.
Wow.
And imagine, again, Neyland Stadium has 102,000 capacity. I'd say a good 25,000 were on the field because you couldn't see the field. You couldn't see the field. It was all orange.
And then sometimes, right, they supposed to have this stadium protocols where they can't storm, but like police officers, sometimes they have dogs on the sideline.
You ain't stopping 102
mugs. Exactly. You're not stopping.
Not 102 mugs.
Don't fool yourself. You might as well do like they did. Excuse me, go ahead. Because you can't stop it. You cannot. Those little 2,500 police officers, you're not stopping like Sean said, 25,000.
Drunk college kids? Come on, man.
No way, with shirts all open. Jumping up and down.
And body paint. Orange body paint, white body paint. Come on, man.
Hey, wasn't nobody mentioning nothing about COVID out there that day? About COVID. Nobody said nothing about the vid.
No, they didn't.
Like, good old Rocky Top.
Yeah, that was a great game, a great experience.
And Jay, this last thing, how about good old Josh Heupel though? Josh Heupel looked like he drank a keg of beer after that shot.
So can
cigarettes rolling? Go ahead.
So can I tell you the Jay Cutler angle?
Mm-hmm.
So Jay Cutler just hates Alabama. All right, because remember he's an SEC guy as well. He went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he doesn't. That's an in-state rivalry with Tennessee as well. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay. So what he did, this was awesome. I was reading a couple articles. I should have told you. I should have sent you the article. So Jay Cutler, what he did is he sent. So the box that he got. So remember the interviewing Jay had with the box. Those are Jay Cutler's cigars. Jay Cutler just launched a line of cigars. So he supplied the whole Tennessee team. Before the game, he gave them the cigars for the game because he felt that they were going to win. So he supplied the whole team with cigars. So all the cigars they're smoking. You saw Peyton Manning with Bryce, the wide receiver. Bryce who had like 17,000 yards in that one game and 5 touchdowns. They're smoking cigars. Those are Jay Cutler cigars.
How about that marketing, guys? How about that? Because I was wondering, Sean, I was like, that shit just gave him a box of cigars right after the game.
Right after the game.
Is that an illegal gift?
No. They're not Cubans. They're not Cubans. It's
I'm
embargo
talking, I'm talking NCAA violations, not federal law.
Well, he's not. He has no connection to Tennessee.
Nope.
Oh,
He's
that's
not
true.
a booster.
He's not a booster. He's not an alum. He's not. He's just a friend. It's like here, and it's
like-
NIL. So whatever, you know.
I was about to say, and he could give him to everybody. He could have gave something to the general public too. So I mean, that is a great question, though, Jay.
Oh Lord.
Huh.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So that was a great game, the Alabama-Tennessee game. Alabama loses 49-51 to Tennessee. And
Oh shoot! I'm sorry.
definitely a-
52.
I thought it was 52.
52.
oh,
I-
52-49.
52.
52-49. Just one of the greatest college games that we have ever seen. So, all right, I'm getting calls from L. Aiden Show. That's a fine by me for having my phone ringing. But hey, it's time for a commercial break anyway.
Is
so,
it?
Yes, it is. So, you're watching What's Up, Cuz. We're working still on our technical issues. I think we're taking care of them. We'll be right back after this.
Jason and got off the
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become the resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JCoyneReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My feature stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My missing person stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out JCoyneReports.com and follow me on Twitter at JCoyne.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's That Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lance C. Irvin, as we get ready to bring on our first guest for tonight's show. But I'm mad at you, cuz you didn't ask me why I was wearing what I was wearing today like you usually ask.
You know, I threw it out there a little bit earlier, but you were speaking Spanish, and I got caught off. I mean, you know, the whole subject changed, but why are you wearing the Blackhawk jersey today?
I'm wearing the Blackhawks jersey today because hockey season started, and I'm wearing a throwback Blackhawks jersey because we ain't gonna win a lot of games. So I might as well wear some throwback stuff because it's getting ready to be a very long season. And what can I say? It's getting ready to be a very long season for the Blackhawks. So I say I might as well remember the good times and wear one of the throwback jerseys. And then the other reason why is because hace frio in Chicago. It's cold in Chicago. That's why I'm wearing this dang old hockey today.
Hey, you see what I'm wearing?
It's snowed out here today, man. What happened?
Hey, it was cold. I woke up this morning. It was like 31 degrees. So I said, okay, let me put on a sweater, which I got a lot of compliments about this sweater, but anyway, it was cold. And Jay, why are you saying that about the Blackhawks though? Even though we traded away half the team.
It's true.
So, I mean, how many games can we win?
Well, we won one.
We get 20?
We did win one so far. So
can we get 20?
Maybe. It's an 82 game season. I think they'll get 30.
We need to get Mr. Evan Moore on the show so you guys can talk about hockey.
We will get him on. And by the way, Evan's book is just going for a second edition too. He's getting a second edition to his book. So great book.
Shout out to Evan.
Yeah, shout out to Evan. Game Misconduct by Evan Moore. Everybody buy it. Hey, we got an author we're getting ready to bring on right now because he wrote a book too.
Who we have, Jay?
So joining us now, he is a journalist for the New York Times, but his new book comes out tomorrow, everybody. And we need you to go buy this because I can't wait to read it. I cannot wait to read this book because we all love hip hop. We all love rap. We grew up with it. And he wrote an incredible book that is coming out tomorrow. It goes on sale tomorrow. So we need everybody to run out here and get this man's book so that we can talk about it on this show even more than we're about to talk about it right now because we all love hip hop. The author of the book, The Come Up, An Oral History of Hip Hop. Joining us now is Jonathan Abrams. Brother Jonathan, what's up, man? Welcome to What's Up, Cuz.
What's up, family? How y'all doing tonight? Thanks for having me on.
Man, we appreciate you being on. I was driving a couple of hours ago, and my cousin called me talking about hip-hop. I started weaving through cars and driving fast because I got excited. I said, hip-hop? Oh, no, I can't wait to get home so we can talk about this. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being on today.
Yo, just to get back into that prior segment, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but hockey is probably the funnest sport to watch in person.
Yes.
Why you say that? Oh, you have to break that down because my cousin thinks he's Mr. Hockey. So come on.
Well, it doesn't translate well on television how fast paced it is and how small the rink actually is. But watching that thing in person, boo, those boys can go on those skates.
Yeah, they can go, man. I tell everybody, the way I get people into hockey is you have to take them to a game. Mm-hmm. They won't get it until they go to the game.
Yeah, 100% cosign.
I think, Jay, when I went to the first hockey game, I think you told me it's kind of like basketball. You was like, pay attention to offense and defense going back and forth. I was like, man, Jay, you was right about that, cuz it's not bad. What was that saying?
We already got people chiming in with hip hop. So I don't know where to start. I don't know if I want to start with him on the article he wrote about the basketball players in Russia or hip hop. Let's start with the basketball.
Let's start basketball. Because hip hop gonna take a while.
So a few weeks, Jonathan, you wrote a great article in the New York Times, and my wife actually forwarded it to me, and I like, wow, I did not know this. We know about what's going on with Brittany Griner being detained in Russia right now, and the WNBA players are not playing over there. But your article let us know that there's still professional basketball being played by Americans in Russia. Tell us a little bit about that, Jonathan.
Yeah, so that was a surprise to me because I and another reporter at the New York Times, we wrote about how WNBA players who traditionally supplemented their salaries from the WNBA were going to other places like Turkey and France and places to play basketball during the WNBA regular season when they would typically play in Russia, because Russia, they have the oligarchs, they pay the most money typically. But
Mhm.
since Griner's been detained, it's been kind of
Mhm.
a non-starter for a lot of women. They're not going to go there. So we wrote that article, right? And then I had an agent reach out to me, and he was like, "Yo, that was a really, really good article, but you probably need to look into the men, because there's men over there right now." And I just took it like I just took it for granted that the guys wouldn't be going over there either, because it's too
Yeah.
hot over there right now,
Mhm.
right?
It is.
But for a lot of these players, they're not able to play on that EuroLeague level. This is their one shot, right? They're getting an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise get. So it was something that they had to debate with their family, with themselves, on whether or not to go there. But yeah, there's about 36 American men who are playing in the Russian Pro League this season.
You know what, Jonathan? I know some of the ladies have big paydays over there. And I was just looking up on my phone because I thought Diana Taurasi used to play over there. And she did play over there. And I know he's paying real good. What's the average salary for the male athletes over there? Because I read, I think said Brittany Griner maybe could have got close to $1 million. Her salary was up there. So
Yeah,
what the males make?
I think the salaries can vary greatly. I think if you have some NBA experience, you can make close to 1 million around there, but it varies greatly. I think the bigger thing is that these guys who are playing in Russia right now, traditionally they would play in other places. In these Russian leagues, they have good competition. They have EuroLeague competition typically. So number one, it's they're making more money. Number two, the competition is better. And number three, because they're not playing as much, because a lot of countries won't play these teams, they're actually not playing as much, so they're getting more money to play less.
Mm.
Yeah, do you know some of the players that's playing over there? Because I tried to find some names and stuff. I was like, man, I'm having a hard time figuring out who's playing over there.
Yeah, there's some guys with college name recognition that you probably remember. The one guy, I'm trying to think of his name. He played on the Miami Heat a couple years ago, but there's a couple guys with NBA experience who, you'll probably say, "Oh, I remember that guy," and yeah, he's over there in Russia now.
Yeah, because like Jason was talking about, because like these days, man, I would have had to think real hard before I went over to Russia. I mean, what's your thoughts? Cuz would you have gone over to Russia to play?
Um,
Cuz?
well, I've been to Russia before. I went over there in
I
the
didn't know
summer. I went
you
over
did.
there in the summer of '99. I was in
You did.
Moscow with a student group from college. Um, I tried not to go against the United States government. And I guess that's my question for Jonathan. Because when the government says, don't go over here, and you go over there,
Hmm.
one, they're not coming to get you if something happens. That's just, you just know that. It's like if you go to North Korea, all right, you on your own, buddy. Don't go over there. So
Yeah,
I try not
we
to
weren't
do
gonna go get Dennis Rodman back.
it. Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wouldn't do it. So I guess my question for you, Jonathan, is the government is telling people don't go over there, and you go over there anyway. Could they get in trouble for doing this or something?
I think it's exactly as how you put it, right? I don't think that they're gonna necessarily get in trouble, especially once they come back. It's just if something happens, it's like, hey, we warned you, you know?
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty deep. And I guess the other question I had for you is, you say they're making more money, they're playing less games, but to get American players to come over there, did they increase the salary than what they
Yeah,
had
there's
in
got
years past?
yeah. I think the agents that I talked to for the story, they varied on
Mhm.
how much guys were actually making. I had one agent basically tell me that they weren't paying more, but they weren't paying less. And then another agent told me, well, he must be a crappy agent because they're definitely paying more. So, so I've had agents say that they're paying as much as 40 to 60% more than they would have in years past.
Wow.
Mhm. I
Wow.
mean, Jay, to go over there at this point in time, I would have guessed they've had to pay a little bit more, because you basically putting your life at risk. Because, like you said, Jonathan, if you do something wrong, but with the way they treating Brittany Griner, if we can't get Brittany Griner out, and I really don't know too many people playing over there right now, if Lance Irvin would go over there and play, oh, I would be stuck over there. So with that being said, shout out to those players and their families. And when I read your article, it's quite a few players that have their families over there, their whole families. So
Yeah, and
that's the part that's interesting. Go ahead, Jonathan.
yeah, no, that's the thing is that a lot of the players who I talked to for the story, they said that hey, it's normal over here. People aren't talking about the war. You don't see it. They bring their families over there. They're young kids who are going to school, and it's almost like they're in a bubble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's deep. And I guess the other question I wanted to ask you about this was, have you heard from any of the WNBA players? Have they reacted to your article? And if so, what was their reaction to finding out that there are male players that went over there and played when the women boycotted Russia?
That's a very, very good question. And it's probably a good follow-up story idea for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the reaction. I do know kind of some off the record, I guess, reactions that I can't really share, that they're probably, you can probably guess what people are thinking.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the first things that went through my mind, Jonathan. I was like, ooh, them women are not going to be happy.
Yeah, man. I figured they would be upset too. But there's always a but. If I have to feed my family, if this is one of the few ways I can feed my family, then sometimes y'all know we'll say, okay, I understand what you're doing, but now this is the way I support my family, so I have to go. But being over there right now, I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know, but let's just continue to say prayers for those that's over there playing.
It's a really difficult conundrum, right? Because you're exactly right. On one hand, this is my means of professionalism. This is how I earn my bread and butter for my babies and for my family. On the other hand, we got this really serious geopolitical situation going on. Do you want to wade into that? I got the U.S. government telling me not to step foot in this country.
Yeah, and then, Jay, let's talk about them getting back if something goes wrong when it comes to the end. Well, I'm not even going to bring that up.
Yeah, because the Marines ain't coming. They ain't coming. You bet. I don't know how you going to get back, but you're on your own, pal. So, well, very interesting story. I want everybody to check out Jonathan's article in the New York Times. It's a really great article. And thank you to my wife for forwarding it to me. And I was like, man, let me send this message out to him. But hey, let's get to the book. Let's get to the book, to the book. Sean, post a photo of the book for our viewers so everybody knows what we are talking about. The book comes out tomorrow. The Come Up, an oral history of the rise of hip hop. But before I talk about the book, it's the night before the release, Jonathan. What type of emotions are you feeling right now?
It's a lot of hard work, and you get to that day and it almost feels like birthday and Christmas and everything wrapped into one, because you've been dreaming about this day for a long time. And that was a feeling like when I held the book for the first time. Like thinking when you're doing a book, it's just an idea, and then it's like you're holding an idea in your hand. It's hard to explain, but I'm just happy, and I really hope that people enjoy and dig this book.
You know what, Jonathan? The title gets me. Like, how did you come up with the name The Come Up?
At first, for a while, I wanted to go with Book of Rhymes because, there's just something about lyricists and having a book of rhymes. And Nas has a song about Book of Rhymes, and I think even Eminem may have one as well. But as I was doing this reporting, as I was digging into this thing and talking to hundreds and hundreds of people, the one thing that kept coming into my mind was that hip hop is this giant grand story of these kids making something out of nothing. So it started in the Bronx in the early 1970s, where the Bronx was burning. There was decay, desolation everywhere. These neglected kids basically had nothing to do, and they came up with hip hop just off of their own acumen and determination. And it rose into becoming something that permeates every single strand of America and pop culture, and not just even America, but the world. And so it's this grand story of making something out of nothing. And it's The Come Up, to me, is just a perfect summation of it all.
Yeah, that got me. I was sitting there like, whoo, I was getting fired up. I said The Come Up, but let me ask you this. Most athletes like myself, we thought that we were like hip hop, especially guys like Allen Iverson. How do you think that pro sports affected the hip hop culture?
Oh, they're both interconnected and interwoven so clearly. If you look at basketball specifically and hip hop, how they both came up, they're both starting to enter mainstream in that mid 1980s period where the NBA, you have Magic and Larry Bird, and then right on those hills, you have Michael Jordan coming up. If you look at hip hop, it's coming up off of, being a street centric party rap type thing to where you have Def Jam and Run DMC and L Cool J and all that bringing it to mainstream. And it really coincides and happens at the same time. And then you look at somebody like, well, even before Allen Iverson, you look at a group like the Fab Five, and they're rising to prominence at the same time as a group like Public Enemy. And then you go to somebody like Allen Iverson, and that's the first time when hip hop is really commercially dominant. Nobody can mess with its financial viability at that point. And, it's almost like sports and hip hop they're almost too connected at that point, right? You see the dress code come up after that, and it's almost like a direct parallel to where, is the NBA becoming too hip hop? Does the NBA have to knock down on it? And I think in the long run, you go to any NBA game now and you hear hip hop from the beginning to the end. It's just something that won't be denied, just like hip hop, where you try to, take away what the people want, and the people are just gonna still gravitate towards that.
Right. And I think about it a lot as we talk about this conversation of how sports and hip hop emerged together in the early 90s. Well, I'm wearing a hockey sweater right now. It was basically Snoop and the West Coast that started wearing the hockey jerseys. They started wearing the LA Kings jerseys, and Snoop would wear the San Jose Sharks jersey a lot too sometimes. And all of a sudden, I'm walking around the hood in Chicago, and I'm like, why the hell is everybody wearing hockey jerseys? it's 90 degrees out here in the summer. What happened?
Or you look at obviously NWA and the Raiders.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and how they did that. And I just think it's very interesting. When the White Sox, our Chicago White Sox, changed their colors in the 90s to the black and silver, basically, and they've admitted this because of Ice Cube's influence, and Dr. Dre and all of them started wearing the White Sox cap, even though they're from California. And the White Sox became like one of the biggest selling teams in Major League Baseball. Everybody's like, what's happening? I think that's the effect of hip hop. In the book, do you talk about hip hop's effect on the fashion community?
Yeah. And you think about, because the book really starts at the origin and genesis of hip hop back in those early 70s. But if you think about those pioneering hip hop stars, they were trying to emulate and dress like the stars that they knew, right? They didn't have any hip hop stars to dress up like and try to emulate. So they were trying to dress up like James Brown and like the outlandish costumes that you saw the funk stars wear, until a group like Run DMC comes along. And DMC was somebody who I talked to for this book, and he was like, yo, the way I envisioned somebody like Grandmaster Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers, I didn't want to dress up like how I saw him on stage. I wanted to, that would be almost sacrilegious. To me, I just wanted to dress up like how he looked when he was coming out of his front door and going onto his stoop. How he was just in regular street clothes. And you see Run DMC adapt that style from Jam Master Jay's older brother, Marvin Thompson. And it's the Kangol hats and the Lee jeans and the track suits that become synonymous with Adidas. And
there you go.
and from there, you see almost like not simultaneously, but a couple years later, they have My Adidas comes out. And that's really hip hop's first, commercial deal done between a group and a corporate sponsor, because it couldn't be denied. They had Adidas executives come to a concert at Madison Square Garden. They told them to put their Adidas in the air. They see all these people waving their Adidas in the air. They're like, oh, all right. That's a deal. Bet.
Like my cousin Jason was wearing cross colors like crisscross and stuff.
Were you wearing the pants backwards?
I wasn't wearing them backwards, but I was wearing them crisscross colors, Jonathan.
Wearing crisscross colors and all that. But Jonathan, when you talk about rap, who's some of the people that you enjoyed interviewing and talking about rap?
Oh man, there's a lot. I talked to people like Ice Cube and Ice T and Cool Mo D, Marley
Mm,
Marl, Master Ace, MC
mm.
Shan. I could go on. But
Did
there's
you did you talk to Big Daddy Kane?
I did not. He was one of those guys who I was trying to get to, but I did
Jonathan,
not.
I had a flap top like Big Daddy Kane. I thought I was dark and lovely like Big Daddy Kane.
I gotta find that picture.
That's dark and lovely. But go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yo, he
Go
was
ahead.
part of that golden era where it was
Yeah.
him and KRS-One and Public Enemy and Eric B and Rakim all coming out at the same time. Like I can't imagine what it would have been like to be around hip hop at that time when everybody's just reinventing the wheel all in like 1 year.
Yeah.
You know what? I couldn't find my cousin Jason on this day, but my man Marcus Liberty played in the NBA, and back then most NBA players they knew some rappers. So I get a call from Lib. He's like, "Hey man, I need you to meet me. I think it's somewhere down. I think I like on Broadway, Jay, one of them clubs down there." He said, "Man, I need you to meet me, man. We got something planned tonight." Jay, I don't have Jay, you better not do that. But anyway, so I come into the spot. My man Lib was like, "Hey, Naughty by Nature in the house tonight. We're up on
What?
stage." I said, "What did you say?" He said, "Come on, man." So we was back there shooting pool. I met Tress. They got us up on stage. I was up there jumping. I was like, these dudes were so cold. I mean, just having the opportunity to be on stage with them. And like you said, rap, and still to this day, everybody loves rap. So with that being said, though, if you could pick a rapper, who would you say your personality is as a rapper?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Jay, I'm not new to this, Jay. I studied under you, Jay. Jason, I study under you.
I mean, I could say like who I would want it to be like, but then I'd be like,
Okay.
nah. I'm gonna try to
Let
keep
me
it real.
hear it. Let me hear it. Come on.
Like idealistically, I'd say somebody like Tupac. You know that
Okay.
poet who has that inner fire and can be show all ranges of humanity.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think I could write a song like "Hit 'Em Up." You know, I'm too nice of a guy. So
That's a good pick. I think if it was me, who kind of fits my personality the most? I would kind of say, from an ideological standpoint, for me is KRS-One.
You know I have a KRS-One story too. See, KRS-One came down to Washington State University. I played basketball at Idaho, graduated from. KRS-One did a speech at Washington State. And it was about, it was only like 150 blacks between both universities.
Yeah.
And all 150 blacks were in there. And he was so intelligent, so articulate, Jay. I was like, and the rapper's pretty smart. Most of them, how you string your words together and stuff like that. And I was just fascinated about what KRS-One did. So Jay, I can see you in KRS-One.
I like KRS-One. All right, so we've been friendly with Jonathan. Now it's time to be mean to him because he came out with a list today, man.
I want to see this list. Come
He
on.
done caused all sorts of controversy. Your daughter, Lance's daughter, is sending
My
in
daughter
lists.
got a list.
We all
Come
got
on.
lists. So all our viewers out there, get ready because I know y'all about to start typing in your list.
Put your list up, Gigi. Put your list up.
Gave us his top 5 hip hop
Let's
albums
see.
of all time.
Let's see.
And I immediately had a problem with some of them.
all right, let's hear it.
So here is his list. We have posted it, and this is in
I
no
got large my
order.
screen.
This is not in order. We just have him listed his top 5. So he's got Nas Illmatic on there. Jonathan, you go ahead and tell us who else you got on there.
All right, we got Nas's Illmatic, quintessential album. We got I Had to Pick a Pac. We got All Eyes on Me, Tupac. We got The Chronic. Keep in mind, I'm West Coast guy.
Okay.
We have It Takes a Nation of Millions, Public Enemy, and we have Ready to Die with Biggie. So let me hear it. Let me hear it.
All right. So that's his 5. Lance, I'm gonna let you go, and then I'll come with my 5.
Well, let me first tell you my daughter Brooklyn Irvin in no
Brooklyn
particular
got lists
order.
too.
Because
Okay.
Brookie, when I called to Jonathan, she said Jay-Z, The Blueprint,
Ooh.
College Dropout, Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
She shocked me with this one. To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar. She went with, she loved this guy. She loves this guy. the Carter 3, Lil Wayne. She loves all the Carters.
Mhm,
And she went with one I'm shocked you didn't have on your list. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Ooh, Brooklyn. Well, we can tell Brooklyn is in the 20-year-old Democrat.
Go ahead, cuz I go after you.
First of all, I think
That's
she
a
got
quality
damn
list.
good list. Yes, it is. That is very impressive, Brooklyn Irving. I can tell you, I almost forgot about the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
How? Go ahead.
That is literally her only album. But and she don't
Yo,
show up
yo,
on time for concerts.
She's about to come out with another one. We just
What,
gotta
30
wait.
years later?
We just
Are
gotta
you
wait.
serious?
Oh,
Nah, I'm
Lord,
just
have
playing.
mercy.
Oh,
Don't
serious?
play
Yes,
about
are
it.
you serious?
All right, don't
Come
play
on,
it.
Jay. I'll go after you with mine. Go
All
ahead.
right, here's my top 5. All right. I do have a Public Enemy on there as well, Jonathan, but I went with Fear of a Black Planet. I went with Fear of a Black Planet. I did go with All Eyes on Me by Tupac. I have to agree with you there. Also agreed with you with The Chronic, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really put the West Coast on was The Chronic when he came with that one. And everybody started smoking weed. Anyway, my 4th album, I'm surprised you didn't go with this guy. The Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem.
That's strong.
By Eminem.
That's
I had to go with Eminem. I had to put him on there. But the
You
one
have to.
I had to.
You
The one
have
I'm really mad about, Jonathan, that you didn't have this one on here. And Lance, this is kind of our generation. You gotta have The Adventures of Slick Rick by Slick Rick on there.
Mm.
That
Oh,
album was strong. You can put the cassette tape
Oh.
in, and I do mean the cassette tape, Jonathan. Just let it play
oh,
and let it
oh.
flip to the other side and play. You gotta have some Slick Rick on there, man. Children's story.
Yo, he's a natural storyteller. He's one of the best storytellers in hip hop history.
Oh, let me see. This was tough since I'm a lot older than you guys. So, but
He gonna
But
say Grandmaster Flash.
but the Beastie Boys had to get honorable mention. on my list.
Oh, okay.
License to Ill. They get honorable mention. But old Lance C. Irvin was a huge Biggie guy. My father. I gave you Ready to Die. Biggie. Reasonable Doubt with my man Jay-Z. Jay-Z has to be. Jay-Z is in the Mount Rushmore. The Chronic. How can you not have the Chronic on your list? You gotta have the Chronic. They changed the culture. We had NWA. Nas Illmatic is a classic. Anytime you go to the Opera House, I'm pretty sure it's Opera House, and they play your stuff with the opera, that's pretty strong. And I gotta go with Run DMC. Jay, how y'all not have Run DMC on y'all list?
Which
Y'all
one? The
disrespectful.
self-title album?
Yeah. How y'all not have Run DMC? You was just talking about my Adidas and all that, and they can't make a list. Y'all crazy. Matter of fact, I should have put on my jewelry.
Making those lists is so tough. It's so tough because listening to you guys, I'm like, man, and yeah, Low End Theory, 3 Feet High and Rising, there's Midnight Marauders. There's a lot of stuff that you could really put on there.
But let me ask you a question, Jonathan. Did you think about NWA on making the list? I mean, what's your thoughts on NWA? And you from that way, you said so easy. Yeah. Oh, my fault. I'm getting excited.
See, the thing with NWA though is if you're looking at top 5 of all time, right? How can you pick that album when Dr. Dre and his production got so much better for The Chronic?
Straight Outta Compton was a beast, though, Jonathan.
It was. But I'm talking about album. I'm talking about also the impact that it had.
True.
And NWA, Straight Outta Compton, obviously it had a sizable impact, but I just think that once G-Funk came along and once Dr. Dre helped develop that really, helped propel hip hop forward.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that the ladies come into the play of hip hop, like Queen Latifah, MC Lyte? What you say about you have like Stetson Sonic, Salt and Pepper, and people like that? What do you think about the ladies in hip hop?
Yeah, they fit right into that golden age in the late 1980s when everything was being reinvented. And it wasn't just the guys. I mentioned KRS
Mhm.
One and Public Enemy and Eric B and Rakim at that juncture. But then you also
Mhm.
have NC Light breaking down barriers. You have Salt and Pepper selling lots and lots and lots of units at that time. Queen Latifah with the Afrocentric hip hop making a
Mhm.
lane for herself, and they're really breaking down the barriers at the same time. And then right on the hills, you have somebody like Lauren Hill and then Missy Elliott. So yeah,
Mm.
women can't be discounted in this at all.
Yeah, and don't
Mhm.
forget our Chicago girl, the Brat, too.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
deaf.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So I mean, I cannot wait for this book tomorrow. I'm gonna tell you, Jonathan, it's already pre-ordered. It's gonna be downloaded to my Kindle. So you already got me.
I,
So I'm already
I got to ask Jonathan this.
yeah.
Kendrick Lamar or Drake? Do you
Oh,
think those two have the opportunity to make the list of Mount Rushmore? Because Drake has been strong. Kendrick Lamar, even though his stuff can be hard to understand at first. But with that being said, him and J. Cole, who do you think the up and comers that we should like? Oh yeah, they gonna keep coming and continue to come.
Yeah, I don't think there's a debate over whether Kendrick Lamar is going to make that Mount Rushmore. I think you can really almost make the argument for him being there now. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know as much as a Cole or as much as a Drake guy, but every time you listen to Kendrick, he's trying something different. He's being innovative. He's pushing that needle. And that's something that I can appreciate. I think being out from Los Angeles, I see a direct dissension from somebody like Tupac to somebody like Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Well, so
mm-hmm.
you was happy with the NFL halftime show, huh? Because y'all
you
had
know,
everybody. Yeah, see, you see, I'm strong with this, Jay. I'm strong with the rap.
you,
I'm
you, you
strong.
know
Go
what's
ahead.
funny was that during the Super Bowl, I was in Beijing for the Winter Olympics. So
Okay, nice.
I missed the whole halftime show. I couldn't see it till I got back.
Oh no! So what did you think about it when you did see it?
Oh man, I thought it was incredible. I loved it. I was like, that's something that people never would have imagined probably even a decade ago. You
Mm.
know, Something like
Mhm.
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all those guys leading the halftime show, Kendrick Lamar. It's incredible.
See, Jay, this is like, hip hop and what. Now, let me ask y'all this: where does 50 Cent rank in hip hop? I mean, Jay, like you gotta ask about 50, right? Because everywhere you turn these days, you hear
I
and see
agree,
50.
Jonathan. Where does 50
And,
rank?
and I'm not saying he was a great rapper, but he's all
I
over the
don't
place.
know. I don't know where you would rank him, but I know where he was in the early 2000s when I was in college.
Hmm.
And I don't think I've ever heard an artist be as big and as ubiquitous and as everywhere as there was when Get Rich or Die Trying dropped.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
That that song was, or that whole album was just, it was everywhere. And
Yeah.
that was, somebody who went to college in California. I can't imagine how it was in New York or even everywhere. How was it in Chicago when the College Dropout came out? Just out
It was
of
big.
curiosity.
It was big. I mean, Kanye was big. I mean, he went crazy now, so everybody here is we trying to disown him. But with his music, nobody's gonna take away what he's done and his music and his impact in the fashion industry. And he did well here. He did well here, as did Common. Common did well here. The Brat did well here. Our guy Twister did well here. Chicago does support our hip hop artists, even though we are definitely more of a house music, probably kind of city,
Hmm.
or at least were, back at that time period. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody liked Kanye's music when he first came out. I just think through the years we've seen what has happened to him on a mental standpoint. We're all kind of like, oh my God, he didn't lost his mind. But yeah, I think he had a great reaction. I think it was a good reaction. What'd you think, Lance?
Yeah, I think he was when he first came out. That's when I was huge into coaching, so I really wasn't hip to Kanye West. I remember I worked at U of M, Missouri, and they had a concert. They was like Kanye West coming. I was like Kanye cool. So I went to the concert. I was like Kanye was better than cool. Like
Mm,
we had a sellout crowd in Columbia, Missouri to see Kanye West, and after that I said I better get hip. on Kanye West. But like Jason said, guys like Common, guys like Twister from around Chicago, even people like G Herbo now to this point, Chicago always support rap because we love rap. But one other question I got to ask y'all about is MC Hammer. I think MC Hammer had a big influence on rap with, you know, the dancing, the singing, the clothes, and what he did for the culture. What's your thoughts on a guy like MC Hammer? Did you think he changed the culture?
Yeah, for a brief moment in time. I think he was another one of those guys who was so big that it was almost too difficult to harness. And maybe if he would have came around a little bit later, he could have, but I think hip hop and rap was still so new to the mainstream at that moment where he became almost too big for it and too ubiquitous in that moment to even handle it all. It would have been interesting to see how his career would have evolved and developed had he been able to maintain it better.
Also, Lance, you can't hire 40 people as dancers and take them on tour with you because you go broke.
Exactly. Jason, let me ask you this, Jay. And he did go broke. When you talk about rappers, you have to talk about rappers. You have to talk about Arsenio Hall, too, during RJ days, Jay. How you think Arsenio Hall affected the rap culture, Jay? Because every week he had some big rappers on there.
He gave him a platform on a network television late night show, and that was instrumental for pushing rap out, not just nationally, but internationally. Just my opinion. It's my opinion. And so I guess, Jonathan, I got one more question for you because we talked so much about the albums and stuff. Do you write about in the book anything about hip hop's influence on music video industry?
Oh,
yeah, especially at the beginning of it, where, you know, in the late 1980s. Well, first of all, there was the big push to get hip hop onto MTV because MTV was basically you know, not playing black artists at that time, and Run DMC is broken down so many barriers, but they're the first hip hop group to get on MTV. But then soon after that, you almost see the music video becoming an art form. And one of the big early crossover sensations was the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff with Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, I can tell you, Jonathan, if you ask me to say the top 5 videos, they were all by 2 Live Crew and Luther Campbell. That's who I'm picking.
Doodle Brown.
There's a couple of stories in the book about some of those 2 Live Crew shows.
I wonder if it was at the one I was at the Riviera in Chicago.
Hey, Jay, we
never
gotta get
been to a rap strip concert at the same time.
Ooh, Jay, you got to tell me about that.
That was at Cliff Richardson's Riviera. You know, we had Cliff on the show a couple years ago. That was the best. Yeah, my boy Eric, right now, he watching the show with me. He know what I'm talking about. I like, we had a strip club or a concert.
Oh my goodness, Jonathan. Oh, here comes Sean. Come on, Sean. Break it down.
Hey, Jonathan,
Sean.
how you doing, man? The producer, Sean Sierra. I got a question for you. One of the things I wanted to ask, because I have a crazy rap story. I'll tell it's real quick. But when I was living in New York in 94, 95, and my roommate's girlfriend, her sister worked for Def Jam. So they had a party. Like, we're going to run this party. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that she worked for Def Jam. I'm like, okay, great. I got there, bro. It's at a club in New York City. I got there. Okay. Unfortunately, there were no camera phones because you name it. LL was there. Heavy D was there. Russell Simmons came down the stairs, grabbed a group of a table of 5 girls and bounced. Puffy was there. Biggie was there. Nas was there. I met Kevin Willis from the Atlanta Hawks. He was there. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm literally in hip hop heaven right now. And there's no such thing as a damn camera phone in 1994 or 1995. I'm like, where the hell's a camera phone when you need it? But I want to ask you real quick about Run DMC, and I have another quick story. So my roommate, his dad is from Queens and his mom's from Harlem. His mom, this is 6 degrees of separation. His mom grew up with Puffy's mom, so he gets he get invited to Puffy's birthday parties all the time. and his grandmother grew up in Hollis, Queens. His grandma lived in Hollis, Queens. He would tell me stories of his older cousin, his old Uncle Mike. It was like 6-8 years older than him. That Run DMC, he was cool with Russell and Daryl and all those guys. And he said, yeah, they had actually been in his grandma's house writing rhymes. I'm like, dude, you have to be lying. Cause I said, cause this was my favorite group was Run DMC back then. He's like, nah, dude, they've been in my grandma's kitchen. I'm like, I was like, you have to be lying. He goes, nah, bro, they were in my kitchen. Him and his cousin Mike, they were down. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. I'm like, again, no camera phones, no nothing. As a kid, I'm sure you don't think of taking a picture of your uncle's friends.
Right.
But the crazy story. But I did want to ask you, speaking of Run DMC, talk to me on how important that video was with them and Aerosmith.
Ooh.
And what that did to them and in the crossover market.
Yeah, that took them obviously to a whole different level amongst white audiences, showing that they could be down with Aerosmith, showing that Aerosmith was down with them. It was almost like a handshake across musical genres. And it was funny because the way DMC talked about that song, they were just basically messing around and they weren't thinking that it would be anything serious. And, you know, if there's one song that Run DMC is known for now, just, you know, worldwide, is probably Walk This Way.
Yep. Walk this way, talk this way. Oh, when they first did, I was like, what the hell are we doing here?
You too?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this kind of a catchy tune. All right, I can roll with this. Because then didn't Public Enemy did something with a rock band too, I want to say, back in the day.
But that was Rick Rubin's mastermind putting those two together, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Rick Rubin putting DMC and Aerosmith together. Because that's why I love DMC, because they had that rock kind of appeal, that rock, you know, bass groove to it because of Rick Rubin. And the list you put up, I thought Illmatic, I thought that was great because that was like a historical album, because that was one of the first albums where different producers produced different tracks. Remember, when you had a producer, he produced the whole album.
Yeah,
that was back in the day. But Illmatic, that was the first one where you had various producers on different songs, and that was like, whoa, we can have different producers. I don't got to get the same dude. That changed the rap game as well. So my little hip hop knowledge as well. So I'm with you, Lance. I got some hip hop knowledge too.
That was like the dream team of New York producers. Yeah. DJ Premier and Pete Rock and Q-Tip and Large Professor. I mean, and you're right. Back then, nobody had ever done it that way before.
Love it. Yeah. Well, hey, Jonathan, tell everybody again the name of the book, where they can get the book.
It's called The Come Up. It's an oral history of the rise of hip hop. It comes out tomorrow. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for having me on. I'll come back on anytime.
Oh man, we would love to have you, brother. We are so happy and proud of you. And we do a lot of promotion of books and people from our community on this show. And I mean, we're getting a big reaction, just the comments that are coming in on all the different social platforms that we on. But everybody go check out that book. Jonathan, be careful. Do the follow-up story, man. I want to hear what the WNBA women got to say. I probably don't want to hear it, but I think they got a whole lot they want to say about these dudes playing basketball in Russia right now.
Without a doubt. All right. And thank you for giving me my next assignment. My editors, thank you.
No problem. Take care. Jonathan Avery, everybody, from the New York Times. All right.
Y'all have a good one.
All right. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we're coming back to talk some Illini fighting Illini football with our guy, Kendrick Prince, is coming up.
We got to talk shine about Puffy.
Man.
Puffy. Yeah, we got to talk about Puffy when we come back.
Be right back. You're watching What's Up, Cuz.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, it's
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
911. Operator 901. Where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency
Do you
line.
know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my co-host and cousin, Lance C. Irvin. Man, did you see my guy Bubba Wallace in NASCAR yesterday?
Hey, AJ, he did a lot of pushing. He got out that car heated. And you could tell the other guy, I can't remember the other, was it Danny Hamlin?
Whoever he was scared.
He was scared. He was scared. He pushed him like Jay. I was trying to figure out why he didn't slap the crap out of him as much as he pushed him. Like they showed the push from every angle.
I'm like, oh Lord. I thought he was going to Jordan Poole to do for the other guy. Anyway, hey man, let's get our next guest on, because you know he is a good friend of this show. And whenever we talking fighting the line, I'm gonna be honest, he's the only person I really listen to. I don't even know. And we know a lot of journalists who cover the line now. I'll be like, if I want to know something, let me follow Kendrick.
Yeah, we gotta get the inside scoop,
because we want to know what's really going on. This guy, he's been on our show a couple of times, and we had to bring him back because the Fighting Illini are currently ranked number 18 in the nation right now. They're having a great year, and this guy is the one guy who I follow who before the season, because everybody can say it now, but before the season, he was like, this team gonna be pretty good. Like, don't sleep on them. They're gonna be pretty good. I didn't think they were gonna be this good, but I thought they would have improved. And they have definitely improved and then some. Our good buddy Kendrick Prince is here. Kendrick, what's up, man? Welcome back to What's Up, Cuz.
Thanks, guys, for having me. You guys sound like Deion Thomas. He says the same thing. If I want to know something, I got to call you, kid. Deion tells me that all the time.
Well, kid, I want to know something too. What's your top 2 rap albums? I'm not gonna give you 5. We're gonna give you 2. We're gonna put you on the spot.
I was listening. You know what I'm playing right now? I heard you guys mention TLC. That's something I'm listening to that right now when I get in my truck. I was a big MC Hammer fan too. I'm not gonna lie to you. At the time, I liked it. I had those big saggy pants back in the day, man. I did, with that gold necklace on my neck. When I had some hair, I was.
So did I. Baby. So did I. I had the big saggy pants in college, boy, and I did. I can't even lie. I can't even lie.
I had those pants too.
Then I went mess around and got some white shoes, and then my boss said, "No, kid, you can't let me do it."
Did you have one of those pretty shirts? Did you have one of the pretty shirts?
Yes, I did, baby. With that gold chain with your little hair on my chest. I thought I was somebody important.
See, Jay, I learned from you well. I learned how to ask questions.
Man, all my pants were baggy. I only weighed 140 pounds. So, I mean, all of my stuff was baggy. Woo, y'all are too much. Kid, talk to us about this Illini football team. I got my cousin Lisa. I got my golf buddy Dave. They all U of I alums. They are going through the roof right now with this team. Tell me, what is making this team so good this year?
That defense. I'm going to tell you what, fellas. They hit. I mean, I don't know a team. I can go back to the Rose Bowl year when Ron Turner was there, Ron Zook. These dudes hit. They got some brothers in the backfield back there. that can just hit and they cover. And what's really unique about these guys, everybody's into star rankings, and I get it. That's part of my job. But these are 3 and 4 star recruits that are just people overlooked, and they're better. And the thing when you mentioned about me believing in the system, Coach Bielema was a legend of Wisconsin. And I knew he wanted to redeem himself. He went to Arkansas, struggled, and he is from the state of Illinois. And so he put together a good staff, and they fit his system. It's a little bit different from Wisconsin, because in Wisconsin, they just ran the ball. Now they throw it. But to answer your question, man, this defense, I mean, years ago, you knew Illinois was going to give up 50, 60 points. When Lovey was there 3 years ago, they gave up 63. That's never going to happen with this staff.
Because one thing, when I was listening to them, I kept hearing people talk about their defense and how good their defense was. So do you think their defense is like a top 10 defense in the country? Are they that good? Like,
well, right now, they're ranked number 1 and number 2 in almost every statistical category in the country. And that includes Alabama, Ohio State. Last week, when they played Minnesota, they gave up their first touchdown at home.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Yes, they take pride in that. They make sure that people, and if you get hit and if you catch a ball, you're going to know that you've been hit. PJ Fleck, the coach of Minnesota, said that's one of the most physical teams he's ever seen, and he's been around college football for 15 or 20 years. And the sad thing about it is that, I know Illinois fans don't want to hear this, but I'm going to keep it 100. Those coaches aren't going to be around very long because, if you don't think those big programs are going to be calling to get the defensive coordinator. Same with basketball. Tim Anderson's getting it done in basketball. These schools are noticing Illinois is not a dead program anymore. They're getting it done, and now you can definitely see that people are saying, hey, who's doing this? What are they doing it with? Can you imagine if Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator, was at Alabama and he had all those 5-star recruits and what he's doing at Illinois with 3-star recruits? I get it. It stinks, but I get it.
But no, I got to do a follow-up like my cousin Jay said, follow-up. People think, one thing they say all the time is like Illinois is a top, at least in basketball, they think Illinois is a top 30 job. I don't know what they think about football nationally. So if you're a top 30 job or top 20, why should you get outbidded for another school that you should be competing with? Why should you leave Illinois to go to another school when they're supposed to be one of the top programs in the nation? They have money to pay like everybody else.
Yeah, because I'll tell you this. We're talking about Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator. He's one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in the country. But the difference between the two programs, and you ask, Illinois has had much more success in basketball than they have in football. To be honest with you, and this is embarrassing, for the last 10 years, Illinois has had a losing record for 10 straight years. So it's hard to get kids to want to come there. One of my things is recruiting, and I talk to kids all the time. There was this kid named AJ Epineza who went to Iowa. This kid had like 50 offers, and he was from Edwardsville, Illinois, and I was in a basketball tournament because he played basketball. And at the time, Lovie Smith was there. And I said, hey, man, what do you think about Illinois football? And he looked at me and said, does Illinois have a football program? Because they're bad. And now I was out there 2 weeks ago, they had 200 recruits on campus. I was out there last weekend, they had 50. And I'm talking guys that they're trying to flip from top programs, Tennessee, Ole Miss. It's a different atmosphere. Bielema's got it going right now, and they're hot.
But you would think that's the key. Can they keep it consistent, kind of like Brad Underwood did in basketball? You would think, because Bielema, this is what, third year? This is second year. So what he's doing in this second year now, you will hope that it can flip, like Jason said, and that it can be a good football school. Because the new facility that they built, when I was down there a couple of years ago, they told me to figure they spent like $90 million on that. And when I saw it on YouTube, it has all the amenities. Talk to us about how you think the facilities pays dividends in college football.
Every year, the athletic director, Ron Zook, has a media roundtable. They select a bunch of media people, and I'm blessed to have an opportunity to go. And last year, we had an opportunity to see that place. And I'm going to tell you, if people who are listening to this, I'd encourage you to get on YouTube and watch it. I've never seen anything like it. Those kids, they can get their hair cut. They can swim. They can bowl.
Time
They
out, time
have
out,
the,
time out, time out, time out. You said swim.
yes.
They put a pool?
I'm not, dude. I was in there.
I
You
didn't see
can,
that
I
part.
mean,
Go ahead.
you
Yeah,
could go up
that-
there
that's-
and you could grill out. You could take your family after a game. And the thing I've never seen before, I brag about this all the time. They took us to the locker room, and at halftime, if you've ever gone to a football locker room, I'll tell you it's one of the worst smelling things you've ever
Yes,
seen in your
I
life.
agree.
But they got this cold. Every kid on this team in their lockers, they get it's a machine that will cleanse and clean their uniforms and their helmet in 10 minutes. So when the coach is talking to you, you put your uniform back up and go back out there on the field. That locker room smells brand new still, just because of stuff like that. So to answer your question, Mr. Irvin, the facilities are working because the basketball facility just got a $40 million renovation. And when you're competing against Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State, they have bread and they have money. And I'm gonna tell the fans out there, people who don't think Illinois have money, they're kidding themselves. Because there's a nice sugar daddy in Chicago that I've yet to meet, and there's one in Peoria. And I'm telling you, they're making sure these kids stay home, and they're gonna try to do all they can to pay these coaches because you're right. Illinois is a good program, and why shouldn't it be? I mean, Chicago alone, just alone, you could do successful in all sports if you could get the kids to go there.
Well, I'm sure Illinois taxpayers appreciate the sugar daddies in Peoria and Chicago to help offset some of the costs of some of this stuff. But it's definitely time for Illinois to do it. I mean, they need to start playing like they one of the big boys and stop acting like they're a small market team. So I'm really glad to hear that, Kedrick. So let me ask you about Chase Brown. If he was not playing at Illinois, would we be hearing his name in the Heisman Trophy consideration?
Great question.
I don't think you guys need me on as a guest because you guys know, because you guys are on it. Illinois is a program that people don't respect. I mean, not yet, and they're starting to get it, and I think they're getting it because of Bielema. I think when Lovie got hired the first year, that buzz was great, but to tell you, if he was playing for Alabama, Michigan, or Penn State, or Clemson, or Tennessee, yes, because dude is for real. He's good. And he's tough to tackle. And I feel bad because you convince a kid like that to come to school there, and they know if they went somewhere else, they would get what you're asking about. So Illinois has to work. They have to work their behind off. Underwood's got it figured out. That dude is different because he's wired different because what he'll do, he understands the transfer portal. He'll go get any kid. He doesn't care if the kid's in third grade. If that kid's eligible and he can play basketball, he's going to get. I'm telling you, Brad is a different guy. And if you ever talk to him, he's a good man. But I think a guy like Chase, if he was in a different program, yes. But I did hear the University of Illinois is going to start marketing because they do a really good job of marketing their kids. And Chase deserves everything that he's getting because he's tough and he's not big. And the thing that fans need to understand, they've gone against the three best defenses in the Big Ten back to back to back, and dude still got 100 yards on all three of those defenses.
See, that's where the problem comes. And I'm a stat guy. He has 192 carries and 1,059 yards. He's averaging 5 carries a game. So my problem is, 5 yards a carry almost. So my problem is, last year I can't recall the running back from Michigan State. The one, I think it was Kenny something, I'm not sure. Why was his marketing so much different? Because we was hearing about him being a Heisman candidate when he was running for Michigan State. Illinois, we should hear that same thing. Like, until Jason said something to me yesterday, I didn't know Chase Brown had so many yards.
Fellas, you got to win.
That's crazy.
You got to win. And Illinois was close last year. You know what? For years, where I live in the Quad Cities, and I live about 50 miles from Iowa City, and they all talk about when they want to play Illinois because for homecoming, because it's a guaranteed win. Seriously. Just think about what I said to you. They've lost for 10 straight years. If they have 1 year, they'll lose for the next 5 or 6. That's what I think is going to be different with Bielema, because I don't think that's going to happen. Because like you said earlier, Jason, Coach Underwood has kind of mastered that. So if they want to be able to get these kids and to market them and see them on ESPN and all those things, you got to win games, and you can't be a one-year wonder. Think about this. There are 18 teams in the country, and they still can't sell out. They can't sell out because people know they've had their heart broken before.
See, you stole my next question.
I was gonna go to.
You go ahead. I was gonna talk about the crowd.
Well, I was
Go
laughing.
ahead, Jay. Go
You
ahead.
know, I know during the first couple of games of the seasons, Kendrick took the photo and posted it on Twitter. But he had said, well, it's good to see more people are coming to the games. But it definitely wasn't a sellout. So I guess my question, Ked, is with this success, one, what is the atmosphere like on campus on game day? And two, if this thing takes off, they're going to have to start adding on to Memorial Stadium. Am I just crazy?
No, you're 100% right. Every week in the last 3 or 4 weeks, more and more people. Like last week, they announced in the press box it was 45,000. There had to have been more because I only saw a couple sections that were empty, and I'm not sitting here when I'm on Twitter. I'm watching fans now. You know, we're buying tickets to Michigan State. We're buying tickets, for Purdue. I mean, a lot of people got mad at me, and I really don't care because I don't, because I was promoting these kids. You got kids coming from Florida, from New York and California, and they want to go and play in front of a packed house. I do. I have about 16,000 people who follow me, so I use my voice. These kids want to play in front of people. Don't be a fair weather fan. I tell you what's funny. I went to the store yesterday, and I've never seen so many Illinois shirts in all my life because they're winning again. So everybody has an excuse why they don't want to go. Why not? They sell out in Iowa City. They sell out in Wisconsin. If you got Chicago, Peoria, Decatur, Springfield, go, and it's a Saturday, so we can't use the work excuse if you work from 9 to 5. These kids deserve that.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about the crowds, I think sustainable winning will get the crowds out there. But like you said, though, I mean, they sell out of Iowa City. They sell out of Michigan State, so we can't use the cold weather. But one thing I was coming back to when we talked about the marketing again, do you feel like they marketing the football team appropriately? We can talk about winning because there's some bad teams that draw too.
Yeah, no, I do now because they're hot and it's easy. It's an easy sell. It's kind of like I just said. I walk around all over the state. I drive around, watching recruits, and you never see any Illinois gear. I saw a lot of that yesterday, because they won again. So I think the marketing department, they're doing a really good job. I know one thing fans complained about was the ticket prices because Illinois has been bad for so long and they didn't want to pay $75. Athletic director heard it, so then he offered a family package of 4 for $109. They're offering all these different things to get these people there. So I think it's gonna come around because, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I think this is not a 1-year wonder with Bielema because when I look at the recruits that they're bringing on campus, I know some of these kids want to come to school there. And another thing, when you're on TV watching these games, everybody looks the same. But when I get on the field, when I walk down there, those kids from other programs years ago, they look light years ahead of Illinois, 15, 20 pounds bigger, taller. Illinois just didn't have the athletes. Now, that's a little different because when you look at them, they look like Big Ten players, and they're able to compete. So, again, to answer your question, Lance, I do think they're doing a much better job marketing it. I know Bielema is doing it himself. He's telling people, come to the games. I think they beat Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And Bielema said last time that happened, he was 13 years old. That's the last time that's happened.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. We did find out that Memorial Stadium currently holds almost close to 61,000. And if the program keeps going, that's just not going to be enough. They definitely going to have to ask.
JC, you want to know something?
What's up?
If you go back and look 15, 20 years ago, it was 70 because people stopped coming. They shortened the stadium.
Oh,
I'm telling you. Go back and look at the pictures, man. You go back and look at those pictures. I remember when they played USC at home. I remember that crowd, 70,000. But then they used to put these blue little tarps down there to make it look so bad on TV because people aren't going to the games. Right. I think it's a bad look with 60,000. But sorry to cut you off, but no, it was bigger than that.
No, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Here's what I want to say too. For me, we all know what's going on in Illinois. Well, around the whole country. The country is pretty divided. Right now, we got a really tense governor's race going on. And I'm just gonna keep it real with people. There's a bias between central and southern Illinois and the city of Chicago. There are a lot of stuff that gets thrown out there, and it's really a shame. And my absolute hope is that this football team doing better kind of unites Illinoisans totally. That we all can pull for this team together and help bring down some of the divisiveness that we're having right now. And we're seeing it in our politics at the highest level in the state. So that's just my personal opinion. I really hope this team, and we've seen it before in the history of sports, where a sports team can kind of bring people together. So I just really want that to happen, and that's just my personal thought on that. Sean had a question last. Let me get Sean in real quick.
No, go ahead. No.
Hey, Kedrick, how you doing, man? I got a
doing,
question about the marketing. First of all, how long you think Bielema's going to stay? Because the reason I ask is obviously, Illinois been basketball and football has been used as a springboard program, springboard program where they go get other jobs. Does he want to get another Wisconsin job or Arkansas job, whatever? But more importantly, talk to me about how, if he stays, how Nike can help with, because if he stays, they're going to be bowling a lot. They're going to be bowling a lot. They're going to be on TV a lot. And if you can get Nike, if Nike sees you, oh snap, you're on ESPN, you're on ABC, you're on this, they might start getting, I know this might be superficial, but this is what kids like, the different uniform combination.
Oh, Lord.
Like Oregon, you can go to Oregon for 5 years and never wear the same combination once or twice. I mean, you can never wear the same combination because you have a multitude of different helmets, different jerseys, different pants.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how important that could be once they start winning to draw kids in. Because you imagine you can have a blue helmet, you got the orange helmet, you got the white helmet, you can get a black helmet. All right, all you want. And again, kids love swag. Everyone loves swag, but kids nowadays love swag. You get different uniforms. Man, that could be a game changer.
Excellent question. So I'm gonna start with the Bielema thing first. I don't think Brett's going to go anywhere. I think when he was at Wisconsin, he was at the all-time high, ultimate high.
He's a king.
He was one of the best. Yes. Then he went to Arkansas and he got humbled. But he is from the state of Illinois, and I'm gonna tell you, he seems pretty loyal. And when you hear him talk, like he did last week, right after the game, he was very thankful of Josh Whitman giving him a second chance. So I think he'll stick around. I think the coordinators were in trouble. I think we're in trouble, because they're doing too good of a job, like I mentioned earlier. But I'll tell you this, you're right. Look at the basketball program. They have multiple different uniforms. They have the throwbacks of '89. They have the orange. They have gray. They have blue. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like the blue football jerseys they have right now. I think they're ugly. That's just me. But I know someone mentioned to me that they were supposed to get some new ones this year, and it didn't happen. From a financial standpoint, you guys, if you do some homework and you look up Google, these TV contracts, because you mentioned Nike and the TV, there's some money out there. Those contracts, and now with USC and UCLA joining, those TV rights, they're fighting to want the Big Ten to be a part of it. The swag, it makes a difference. I'm out there on the field, and you see the kids with the gear. I interviewed a couple of kids. One kid was from Wisconsin. He's like, man, I grew up a Wisconsin fan, but this orange is sick. And it does look good. So you're 100% right. And some of these people think the fans don't matter, the Nike and Adidas don't matter. Yes, it does. It really and truly does. I mean, just think about it. I mean, we like certain things, and we're making fun of the MC Hammer pants back in the day, but these kids like that stuff, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. They do, and coaches, like I was a gear guy. We all like gear, and the kids want to look the part, and the gear can help you. But I'm a stat guy, so I looked it up, and I don't know if this is true. Now, the last time Illinois had a football sellout was 2016 against North Carolina.
Yes, sir. That's the last time. And Lovey, I would say Lovey, they laid an egg. And then after that game, people were done. It wasn't even close.
So, Jay, I'll probably stay at 60,000 for a while until they show. Make it a hard ticket to get versus, especially when I hear Kedrick said they downsized. So that, and then another question I had was this: how big is recruiting Chicago for Illinois football? Because I know seeing CPS, I had to ask the Jason question because Simeon had a wide receiver that was really, really good, and he went to Cincinnati. So,
I'm gonna tell you
do
what,
you need it or is the transfer market? Go ahead, I'll let
Mr.
you know.
Irvin, I'm gonna tell you that
Call me
Cincinnati.
Lance, Ken. Call me Lance.
I'm sorry,
Come
man.
on.
All
Come
right,
on.
Lance. Illinois is working that Simeon kid. That ride's not over because they're calling him. And football, I don't like this. In basketball, a kid commits 99% of the time they stay. In football, they flop every 15 minutes. They flop like fish. And Illinois is still trying to get that kid. They are
Because
working their behinds off.
LC, the wide receiver, Jade, is going to Cincinnati. About
He's good.
6'3". He's really, really good. And I'm just curious because in basketball, they bop you over the head. You can't get Chicago players. Do they need them? Which I probably say yes. And is the transfer market, do they say, forget it, we just go to the transfer market? But I'm happy you said they still trying to work it. Jay, that kid is good, man.
Yes, they're still trying to work him. Illinois, I'll just quote Brett Bielema. He's tired of Iowa, Michigan, and Notre Dame coming in and robbing his state. So yes, they need to recruit the state, and they're going to recruit the state, and they're doing a really good job of it so far. Fellas, some of these kids, like I just mentioned to you about the kid downstate, does only have a football program. Why would you want to come to a program to just, and you're not going to win? And Bielema said this, and a lot of people didn't like it. He wasn't just going to give kids scholarships just to be giving them a scholarship to waste money. If he's going to give you a scholarship, he's expecting you to play. So exactly, and you want to keep the best players home. But he also mentioned this: you can't get everybody, because if you get everybody, then somebody's going to be unhappy, and then they're not going to want to play.
Right.
But Illinois is now winning recruiting battles over Iowa, and I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand it, because those kids were just going there like it was nothing. When they played Iowa, the tight end, hell, he killed Illinois by himself. He had over 100 yards, and this is the Illinois kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of stuff that they have to change. But he's only in his second year, and I can see the difference. I really and truly can see the difference.
It kind of like you said, like if they can consistently start winning, you can't tell me that Michigan State can pay their football coach $8-9 million a year, which is more on the 9 than 8. Yeah. And Illinois can't pay their coach the same figure. Brad is getting it. Brad is probably about 5-ish than he is $4 million a year. You probably know the figure better than me, but I know I'm semi in the ballpark. So you can't tell me they can't pay. And Matt Doherty, who I work for, SMU, used to always say, the way you get over the hump is if you can keep your staff together for 4 or 5 years. So what if those coaches are as good as you said, Keith, they got to find a way to keep them for another 2-3 years. Because the one thing Brad did, he was able to keep Orlando and Chin around for 3-4 years. Then they really got it rolling. Jay, he kept him for 4 years. Then Kentucky can't call him.
Right.
So to give them a fighting chance, a couple of years, they got to find a way to keep him more than 2 years.
Well, Kendrick, I was just going to I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kendrick. Did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, just because I don't know if you remember, Brett Bielema left Wisconsin because he was so loyal to his coaches, they wouldn't give his assistant coaches raises. So that's why he left. And to tell you how good the defensive coordinator is at Illinois, after Illinois went to Virginia and got blown out, they were a different team. And people started snooping around the program. That's when the defensive coordinator got a raise again. I can assure you, at some point in time before this year is over and when it's over, all those guys are going to get raises. Because like you said, if you don't pay them, somebody else will.
Yeah, because it has to get to the point, and I'll let you go, Jay. Kind of like Sean was saying, you should leave for a head coaching job. You can't move for now. Alabama is a different juggernaut. We understand that.
So is Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly. So it can't be like a lateral move, I think. But they have to find a way. Go ahead, Jay. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right. I was just going to ask you how much of Northwestern having a really bad year is also helping Illinois, especially when you're talking about the the Chicago area. Because I mean, hell, Northwestern's their whole motto is Chicago's Big Ten team.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. When I drive to Chicago, I see it all the time. Northwestern had a really good recruiting class this year, and part of that is because they do have some tradition. I mean, Illinois beat them last year, yeah, but that's 1 year. So they're going to recruit, and I think the state alone is big enough to where both of those teams could get those kids. But I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Northwestern because they are a good football program. Illinois is a state university, and they can call it, they can call it Chicago's team and do whatever they want to call it. It's the University of Illinois, and the people around the state, when they are good, they're going to.
Uh-oh.
Are you there?
Yep, we're there. We can hear you, but we can't see you, Kedrick.
Can you see me now? I see you guys.
No, we can't see you, but keep talking. We can hear you.
I wonder what happened. Yeah, because I can see you guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So, but anyway, I guess to answer your question about Northwestern, I really and truly can see the difference with Illinois starting to take some of those kids from them, and some of the Wisconsin kids. I mean, these kids were a lot of. I mean, I don't want to say Northwestern got all of them, but I think Iowa and Wisconsin were the two biggest thorns in the Illinois side because you look at those rosters. I think Minnesota had 20 kids on their roster from Illinois. I think somebody reported last week.
Marquise Irvin played at Hillcrest, went to Morgan Park, running back. Okay, let me ask you. Let me throw in a basketball question. I have to ask you.
Yeah, we gotta ask you one before we.
Have you been able to see the guys work out, catch the basketball team?
I talked to a kid today. His name is Melvin Bell. He is from St. Rita. He was down there. I talked to a couple of parents down there, and I've seen some individual stuff. This is going to be different. I mean, and I know people read stuff and coaches say stuff. If they don't run, they come out. If you don't guard, you come out. And Brad mentioned to us, during media day last week, it was a blessing to wake up and know you're going to get 20 and 10 from Kofi every night. But now that's not there. They shoot it. And Terrence Shannon is just at a different level. He's a Chicago kid, and he's the guy on that team. And Coleman Hawkins, and by the way, his dad Rodney told me to tell you guys hi because he knows you guys. He's texting me, during this interview. I'm like, man, I'm doing this interview. What are you doing? So
tell him what up. And tell him hello. And Terrence Shannon played for the McIrvin Fire.
Yes. So those dudes are good, man.
I just had to ask because they got a couple of transfers. Matthew Mayers, he's pretty good from Baylor.
He's big.
He has size. He's more 6'8" or 6'9" than he is. They list him. Yeah, they list him at 6'9". He's every bit of that. He's athletic. And, Tim Addison told us he's gonna be on the show too, Jay. So I'm gonna tell Tim Addison I'm not talking to him until he comes on the show.
You know what? I mean, I think you both should play the lottery because you guys are on a roll. Tim texted me 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, "What? Yeah, man." He was just talking to me about recruiting and stuff. So, you guys
tell Tim I told you you can't talk to him until he come on the What's Up Cuz show. That's what Lance and Jason said.
I'll get that done.
All right. Hey, kid, we're going to have you back in a few weeks.
Sure.
Ball's going to be tipping off in a few weeks. But hopefully you ain't going to be able to talk to us for a while because the line are going to be bowling and Kedrick is going to be posted up in Pasadena somewhere.
Who does UNI play next, y'all? Who do they play next, Jay?
They go to Nebraska.
Oh, that's a win.
Yep, they go to Nebraska, and then I think for the championship, it's going to be between Purdue and Illinois. So that's going to be coming up as well. And the good thing about it, it's at home. It's in Champaign.
Nice.
All right. It'll be fun. Hey, everybody, don't forget, follow our guy at KedPrince4 on Twitter. Our guy, Kedrick Prince from the IlliniGuys.com. I'm telling you, you want to know about Illini sports, if you call me, I'm going to tell you to call him and text him because he's going to follow him because he's where I get all my information for. Yeah, it's so nice to hear from you, man. And just on a personal note, continued healing to your dad as well.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, man. I truly appreciate that, man. You guys are good dudes. If you ever need me on as a guest, man, I have no problem doing it. I really mean that.
Man, appreciate it because you bring the heat and the truth.
Yes, he does. All right,
Thanks,
thanks.
guys.
All right, Kendrick Prince, everybody. All right, we got 5 minutes left in the show, and guess what? I got a jump ball question for you.
Well, then Lance Irvin got to finish his grad school paper. Go ahead. Got
I
a
got a jump
pager.
ball question for you.
Come
and I
on
want
with
you
it,
to get-
cuz.
And I'm
What
gonna
you
let you
have?
go first because this is one of them questions I designed specifically for you, Mr. College Coach guy. So Sean will come on.
What's the question?
He'll get our Jack Leg clock ready.
What's
And
the
we do have-
question?
Oh, you know what? I don't even know if I typed the question in the thing with my dumb butt. All right, hold on. Give me a second.
What is the question?
Talk to Sean about something.
I'm
real
gonna let Sean. Hey, Sean. I'll tell you what. I went to Puffy's club in the Final Four, and I think Puffy was in there. I turned the corner, Sean. I said, Anthony Mason, half the New York Knicks was in there. Everybody and their mama, and I said, "Ooh, wait!" Hey, Sean. It was so many people in there. I was in the VIP spot. It was Anthony Mason, John Stark, some everybody. I said, Puffy know how to throw a party. Puffy, how was he acting? How was he acting when you saw him in there?
So because I was in hip hop heaven, like I'm definitely not a fanboy. All right, because as a kid, I met Michael Jordan and Walter Payton when I was an Andy Fran Usher. So to me, there was no one. We couldn't get any bigger than that. All right. But to be in that club with all those guys who I listened to in college, who I'd seen on TV, who on the Arsenio Hall show, in the all these things, dude, I'm telling you, it was. So I didn't even get a chance to pay attention to one person in particular because as soon as I was like, oh shit, there's Heavy D. Oh shit, there's LL. Oh, oh snap, that's Russell Simmons coming down the stairs. Oh snap, dude, it was literally like. You know the old saying, head on a swivel, get your head on a swivel. That's how it was. And I got, dude, it was awesome.
You said Russ came there.
Russell came down the stairs.
You.
Leaned over the table, boom, boom, boom. Literally no more than 4 minutes. We out. Me and him and all the honeys. I'm like, you the man, Russ.
Yeah. It's some experience. For those of you who've never had the blessing to be around me, I had a cousin that played in the NBA, or when you're in that setting and you're just regular Joe, it's like you don't even know what to do. You're just sitting there like, oh my God. I'm like, nobody knows me here, but they think I'm somebody. So
yeah.
It's an unbelievable feeling.
It's just what you see, like to be able to turn to the side and you seeing MJ in there. And just listening to how he acted, what type of dude he was, and just like
after the show, I got a funny story for you. When my buddy was a sports agent, and he represented Brian Cox and some of the other guys. Who was Emory Moorhead's son, Aaron Moorhead, a couple of those guys. I got a really funny story for you.
We'll do that one after
because some stuff can't be told online. Go ahead.
Definitely not.
I got a jump ball question. I got it in the thingamajiggy there, Sean.
Hopefully, what you got? What you got, man?
Ball question, and Lance will go first. So
come on, we got 2 minutes. Lance will be you in 30 seconds. What is it?
All right.
What's the question? That's a good question. I'm gonna say no, due to the fact that it's so much. What's the word I'm looking for? You can develop that chemistry during the summer. And a lot of people coming on campus earlier than they did when I was in school. When I was in school, basically, you only had certain people going to summer school, so it was hard to get chemistry. We were basically getting our chemistry from September when school started until the season got underway. But now, because the availability of this summer school, the availability of kids coming on campus earlier, the access to more coaches being able to work out with their players sooner and more, I don't think transfers is hurting the chemistry. I think what the transfers is doing is making teams better, faster than what they would be able to do if it weren't for the transfer. So I don't have a problem with transfers. Coach is able to watch, play, practice more, watch more film.
Way to cut him off, Sean. I think the transfers are definitely going to hurt. I'm very interested to see this basketball season this year because people have been transferring all over the place. My cousin Lance said earlier this year it was like 2,000 people in the transfer portal. I think by doing this, you're not giving the player a chance to develop the individual player, and I don't think the team is getting enough time to form some cohesiveness to play together. And it just seems like it's breeding a me mentality. I agree with one of our former guests who was on the show where he said he didn't have a problem with the kids transferring as much as they want to, but he'd like to see that you got to sit out a year back into the program because it makes you really think about, do you want to leave this program and just jump ship instead of just sticking it out, working together, building a team, building a kinship, and putting together a championship program. So I think all right, we're back. Sean, what do you think about our jump ball question today and me and Lance's response to it?
Oh, I didn't know you were gonna have me on that. Okay. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will, and here's why. And it's gonna hurt you in a tournament. All right, I don't even need a minute. It's going to hurt you in a tournament because you know what? How many times we see upsets all the time when you got big Power 5 schools, but they're all one and dones and they're all blue chippers. But you got guys at the mid majors and they're there 3 or 4 years. Lance, you know this as well as anybody. Guard play rules of NCAA tournament. And if you got great guard play, then there you go. And that's the thing when you get guys who stay 3, 4 years and they can run the show. They're not intimidated by. You know, as a junior or senior, you're not intimidated by a blue chip freshman. So I think that it's going to, it a lot of transfer. It hurts schools. I think it's better off when you get guys who stay there 3 or 4 years.
Stop right there, Mr. Fullback. Is this not college football season, Mr. Superback? Is this not football season?
It is football season.
USC is currently 6-1 with 45 transfers. It's not hurting their chemistry. Last time I checked, Alabama rolled out 17 transfers.
You know what? I was thinking basketball. I was thinking basketball because it's jump ball. If we're talking football, no, football it don't matter. No,
it's
football doesn't matter.
Season.
I know, but you're talking jump ball. The jump ball question is basketball. Football, no. You know why? We've seen it. No, you know what? Here's why.
I'm a stat guy.
I'll give it to you in like 20 seconds. Here's why. Because when you bring one person into a program, it's easy for them to acclimate and get accustomed to that program. So you're not asking like the Bears. You're not asking the whole offense to learn a new system, the whole defense to learn a new system. You're asking one player in the transfer portal or a couple players to learn a new system and blend into the culture. So with that, the chemistry, no, that's not being effective.
See how I won this? UCLA as bad as they crowd are. UCLA got about 30 transfers sitting at 6-0. Stop it.
Well, Miami got a lot of transfers, and we're 3-3. So
I was thinking. That's why I said it's a guard-driven league, and I'm thinking because it's basketball, and I was like mid-majors. I'm thinking basketball.
Mr. Superback, I'm college football true until basketball starts. I'm heavy basketball, but
I actually asked the question considering all sports. I probably could have been more specific because I'm interested to see how it's going to affect baseball teams. I'm interested to see how it's going to affect volleyball teams. I'm interested to see how it's going to affect all these teams in all these sports. And the reason why I asked the question, why I took the position I took, Lance, you had a daughter to play D1 volleyball. Have you been watching D1 volleyball this year?
You know, I watched a couple of games like
the usual power teams in the Big Ten, Minnesota, Nebraska, they're all kind of down this year.
I watched them, and Kentucky and Louisville are up this year.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So I think this is a good question to ask. It's something we need to follow because I think it's going to depend on the sport. I think Sean is right. In football, it ain't going to matter. But I do think in basketball.
I don't think it's going to matter like that. It might a little bit. I'm going to say that to the next show because I got to write my paper. Okay. But that's a good question. And I come back with facts. Because old prime time at Jackson State, got a bunch of transfers on this roster too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'm football guy right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's a fair question for us.
We
to
give a
explore.
tie.
No,
We
we'll
give
give
a tie.
All right, we'll give it time.
See, you
Hey,
thought
we
you
have
had
to-
me.
no,
You thought
we
you had me. I'm football.
We're at the end of the show. What a great show we had. We want to thank our guest, Jonathan Abrams from the New York Times. Be sure to go pick up his book. We're going to promote the book again. Throw that picture back up there. Jonathan Abrams' new book. It comes out tomorrow. Make sure you get this book, The Come Up, An Oral History of the Rise of Hip Hop. He was a really good guest. Love to have him back. Also, our guy, Kedrick Prince, came on to talk to us about the Fighting Illini football program, ranked number 18 in the country. They are doing so well. Make sure you follow Kedrick as well. We are out of here. My cousin has to write a grad school paper. I need to go watch the Yankees and Cleveland game, and I don't even want to know what Sean is about to get into. So we will be back next week with a 1 hour show because next Monday night, the Bears, they're Monday night, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, next Monday night, the Bears are on. So we will only do a 1 hour show. The Bears next Monday night are on Monday Night Football. So we will only be on from 6 to 7. And I'll give you all a little tidbit. We are currently in the final stages of securing a guest who also has a book that comes out tomorrow. He couldn't come on this week. I'll give you a hint.
That's strong.
The book is being published by Colin Kaepernick Publishing Company. And I will say this guy was, is it fair to say he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry?
Yes, he was.
No way. You're gonna get. I know who you're talking about
Yes,
because that's
he
my
was.
dude. That's my dude.
Kendall Gill tells a funny
That's
story about him.
that's my dude.
Oh, yeah. We're in the final stages of negotiating that interview, folks.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I
Love
wasn't
that dude.
trying to guard that dude like that.
Oh,
No,
I'm
no,
not
I met
gonna
him.
say-
I met him at the Big Three, dude. That was one of my favorite moments. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right. So for my cousin Lance Irvin and our super producer, the superback Sean Sierra, I'm Jason Palmer. Thank you for tuning in to What's Up, Cuz. Be safe out there. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Jay, you like my red sweater, cuz?
You look like Christmas time.
Hater. So he a hater. You
Hater.
are a hater.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, we will march on to victory. We will march on to victory. Let us march on to victory.